Off we go again with another video lecture. This one is going to help you figure out how to do a Sway newsletter or a Sway journalistic piece. The most important thing you're going to learn about the journalistic piece or a newsletter is how to write the nut graph. The nut graph in a newsletter or journalism is the most important sentence of the whole article, just like the thesis sentence is the most important sentence of an essay. So for storytelling, which is what this is, you've got to capture the imagination of individuals, and once you've captured their imagination, you've got to keep them reading. So catchy headline, catchy picture, and the nut graph 4 sentences in, or if it's actually written in a newspaper format, 4 paragraphs in. And what the nut means, it's a reference to, well, tell me about this story in a nutshell. In a nutshell, what's the most important thing that you want to get across to me? So that's what we're going to do today. There are actually 3 different Sway styles that we're going to use in the coming weeks. For right now, the only video I'm going to create is how to do the newsletter, because for my U.S. History students, Module 13, the post-war years, you're going to be doing a newsletter on your topic of choice in Module 13. The World History students are going to be doing their topic of choice out of World War II, which is Module 22. So you're going to see references to World History, Module 22, U.S. History, Module 13. But the 3 different styles that we're going to talk about here are going to come up in future weeks. So this week it's a newsletter, next week it's going to be a thesis paragraph, and the week after that it's going to be a mini essay. So every Monday you're going to have one of these videos telling you about what's coming up this week, and then we're probably just going to repeat it again. But that's what the video is today, just this specific topic, Sway best practices on how to do newsletter or journalistic. So where we're going to start every week is for U.S. History students. This week you're going to try and get through as many textbook lessons as you can. I'm going to put a quiz up for each one of the textbook lessons in Module 13, and you're going to work your way through it. Last week, the World History students did this, so they've already seen their video that's teaching them how to take a textbook quiz. So in the U.S. History classes, your Monday is going to start with how to take a textbook quiz, and then we're going to walk you through lessons 2, 3, and 4. For World History students, you've already done this, so your responsibility this week is, because you have 5 lessons in the textbook, to get through all of those 5 lessons and then pick your favorite topic, and you're going to be doing your Sway by Friday at the end of your school day. And that's how this weekly routine is going to go. First, textbook lessons. Second, some fun stuff, which has a Thursday due date. And then you have to have your topic choice, and we're going to talk about that by Thursday as well. And then by Friday, you've got to have your Sway finished. And that's how a typical week is going to go through here. It's time for Popsicle Stick. Remember I told you about the universities having a big damn deal about the Popsicle Stick Bridge competition, where all you have is a certain number of popsicles and a certain amount of white glue. This is what you can do with that. This is a fantastic bridge. This comes from the University of Saskatchewan in Saskatoon, Saskatchewan. And this is their competition, which they were advertising in 2018. So it's a big deal, and you can do some amazing stuff. And the popsicle stick number for this is 10. All right, so popsicle stick number 10, that's going to be on the quiz. All right, off we go. Okay, so my demonstration today is going to be about General MacArthur. I'm going to talk about his island hopping strategy. So how do I get there? Well, first off, in the textbook, I see that there is a really cool spread on General MacArthur here. It's going to give me a lot of information. You can see the 3 paragraphs, but there's a 4th paragraph down here. What you're going to look for is these type of spreads where you have 4 really tight paragraphs that you can pull one central meaning from every paragraph, and that's going to make up your 4 sentences of your nut graph. So this is how I did it. The 4th paragraph is off the bottom here, but on this screen here I've set the 4 paragraphs out, 1, 2, 3, and 4. So in the first paragraph, the main idea, my first sentence, is going to be derived from something about what MacArthur did in World War I that attracted a whole bunch of attention to himself, how he proved himself to be worthy of becoming a lieutenant general or whatever he was. Brigadier general. So he became a brigadier general in World War I. And then my next paragraph tells me about how he ended up in the Philippines in 1935. The third paragraph tells me about how he stopped the Japanese advances in the Battle of Guadalcanal, and that was really the turning point of the war in the Pacific Theater. And it cost them a lot, and they cost a lot of ships, cost a lot of soldiers, but Japan never advanced further after Guadalcanal. And then the strategy was to island hop back up towards the mainland Japan so that they would be in striking distance of their central manufacturing support mechanism. Because you can't have a war without a whole bunch of stuff working behind the scenes, supplying the soldiers and your navy, because this was all a war at sea, with a lot of navy people on islands being supported by aircraft carriers and stuff like that on the sea. So that was the main strategy here. So that's kind of my topic. So by Thursday, as I mentioned here, the Module 13 is my U.S. History students. Module 22 here is my World History students. But both of them are the same. On Thursday this week, April 9th, you're going to have your topic to me. This week's kind of weird because it's a Good Friday. So Friday's a holiday. I can't assign you anything on Friday. So your weekly assignment, I'm going to go a little lighter here, but I'm going to hold the deadlines just like they would on a normal routine. But as of your end of school day on Thursday, all of this stuff needs to be done. The whole weekly schedule is a little lighter, so there technically won't be anything due on Friday, but you have to hold it in your head that it's all got to be done. The weekly schedule is just being compressed into 4 days here. And I'm keeping this out there. Notice this deadline here is April 12th, which is the Sunday midnight, and we talked about that in the weekly routine video. But you've got to have your topic chosen and into me by Thursday, because that's when the penalty is going to hit. Your actual sway is not going to have a penalty until Sunday at midnight, but don't leave it until Sunday if your parents and your family routines are you don't get to do homework on a Sunday. All right? Good. All right, so my potential headline is being pulled from this sentence right here, where you can see that General Douglas MacArthur, the commander of the Allied land forces in the Pacific, developed a plan to handle the problem. The problem was how to get back to Tokyo and the Japanese mainland. And my temporary headline, therefore, is going to come from this. Now, I say temporary because when you are doing journalism and newsletters, the article and story kind of takes on a life of its own. You don't really know where it's going to go or where it's going to end up. You start writing it, and the story wants to tell itself, kind of. And so, in 99% of the cases, you always change your headline. So, keep that in mind. You're not likely going to have this headline by the time this is done, but this is what you have to send to me on Thursday for the weekly headline deadline. Ooh, that rhymes. Cool. All right, so now that I have my nut graph, so I wrote my 4 sentences. Out of those 4 paragraphs that you saw, I wrote my 4 sentences here, and my nut graph is fully developed now. And so that last sentence says, in order to defeat Japan, however, MacArthur needed to get within striking distance of the Japanese mainland, and his island-hopping strategy allowed him to penetrate Japan's front lines in a push toward Tokyo. All right, so I have a really cool catchphrase now. My nut graph says island hopping. How cool is that? That is so much better than MacArthur's strategy in the Pacific, which is kind of dry. All right, so island hopping, that's cool. That has a catchy imagination, that inspires some imagination about what he's doing. So I want that in my headline. So my headline now is already changed because I just finished writing my nut graph, and that informed what I'm going to get for a picture as well as changing my headline. So my General MacArthur strategy in the Pacific is now General MacArthur's, if you can see it behind my yellow arrow there, General MacArthur's island hopping. General MacArthur island hopping to Tokyo. All right, so that's my headline now. So it's time to do the picture. And once I've changed my headline, you'll notice here in my search parameters, it has already offered this up to me. If you still have your old search parameter in there, hit the X, delete it, open it back up again, and you'll probably come in through this window. But when you open up your window search, just by clicking on the text box, clicking back on that image icon over there in the image card, not this one, this is the image behind your headline, you don't want that, all right? You want the image card. So when you click on that, you'll get this if it's a brand new. If you had closed this out with the X, you'll get this brand new search parameter. And it says right here, General MacArthur island hopping. So the computer algorithms have a pretty good idea what you're going to be looking for your image based on what you put in your headline for that section. So it knows where to look for your ideas, and off it goes. And you get this screen here with all of these ideas for General MacArthur and island hopping. But we are not worried about publication. All right, so we're not a newspaper. We don't have to worry about copyright infringement. So if you want a bigger selection of pictures, take Creative Commons off. I tell everybody, just plan on taking Creative Commons off. We're not publishing this. We want really cool pictures, including the ones in your textbook. And if there is a picture in the textbook, chances are really, really good that it's a copyrighted picture. So you're only going to see the pictures that you see in the textbook if you take Creative Commons off. So when I take Creative Commons off, I see a really cool picture down here. Actually, yeah, it's going to be down about right here. So I like that picture. It shows island hopping because the arrows go hop, 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 hop. All right, that's my picture. I want that one. So the way you get that picture is you take it for a test drive, because I can't read the small print. I'm not even sure if it is General MacArthur's island hopping. It caught my attention. The only way you're going to see these pictures in high resolution is if you test drive them. So the way to test drive them is click on the arrow box, and it says, yes, I want that one, and click on add. Okay, so when you click on add, it is now in your article, as you can see right here. Yeah, it's going to be right there. All right, so that is now embedded in your image card, and the only way you can test drive it is to hit this play button up here. So when you hit play up here, you're going to see what it's going to look like when I grade it. It's not ready yet. Don't send it yet, but you're going to test drive it. And when you do that, you see, oh my gosh, yes. If you wanted to get a high resolution image of that, a full screen type of thing, click on the image itself, and it will take it out of the, it's like zooming in on it, but it'll blow it up to a full screen size. You can shrink it back down again. But this is how you test drive the image. You really like it. Notice how your paragraph, 4 sentences, comes down the side, and it wraps down at the bottom. So your paragraph naturally wraps around the image, and which is a nice format. This isn't too bad. It shows my title, my header, my image. There's no caption, so I don't know where this caption is. So let's go put a caption in on it. My caption is going to be, once again, the caption, people's eyes are naturally drawn to the image. So I'm going to look at the image. What am I going to see? Well, what is that image? Your caption tells me what your image is about. And I haven't even looked at your paragraph yet. I haven't even looked at the journalistic article yet. You're going to have to pull me in with a caption and a picture. So I'm going to look at the picture and I'm going to say, wow, that looks like MacArthur's strategy. Is it? And I read the caption and it says, following MacArthur's and Nimitz leadership, the Allied forces island hopped all the way to Okinawa. Oh, cool. They're going to Okinawa, which is definitely within striking distance of the mainland. So that is what I put in there for my caption. It is not repeating anything that is in my text box down below here, which I didn't take a picture of. It's not repeating anything that's in my text box, text card. And now my header is changed. My caption reflects what is in sync with my header. And my paragraph is in sync with my header and my caption. So this is a neatly wrapped it up tidy and put a bow on it type of completion. So now we have to actually test drive it again. So hit play, and here's the test drive. What happened to my text? My text box contents are now all underneath, because what it did is it said, oh, there's a caption with this picture. Rather than wrap the text around the picture, the caption takes this space right next to it, and I can read my full caption. All right, so it changed the whole layout just by putting a caption in there, but it's a better layout, and it's much more suited to what you are doing as a journalist. All right, next, if you want to get back, you're done, click on edit. This is how you get out of the test drive mode, and you click on edit, and it goes back so that you can actually play with your text box and your working space. But now we want to see if there is, if your style is not good, if you're not satisfied with your style. For example, if it was playing horizontal, you're going to have to fix that. The way you fix that is you click on the design button up here, and the design button will open this window over here, but not fully. You have to actually click on styles, because if you're going to change the styles, you want to click up here and it'll open up this window of different styles. All right, so when we open this window up, and if it's doing horizontal, this is what it's going to look like. Your title is going to be here, your first headline is going to be here, and your newsletter is going to be scrolling from right to left. So in order to move, you hit the right arrow and it goes, here's my headline. And you hit the right arrow and here's my picture with a caption. And you hit the right arrow and here's my text card. So that's a horizontal scroll. For long newsletters, that kind of works. It kind of feels a little bit like a slideshow, but not really. There is a slideshow feature here which makes Sway almost identical to PowerPoint. If I wanted to do a PowerPoint, I would do a PowerPoint, not a Sway. So I do not like the slide presentation. We will never ever do a slide presentation style for Sway in my class. All right, so that's just the way I am. I need it to be vertical because when I scroll down, because I have a scroll mouse, I want my scroll to go up and up and up until I'm done reading and when I hit the bottom. This is how your textbook reads. All right, so when you are in a section of your textbook, you scroll and scroll and scroll until it's time to go on to the next section. Then you hit the right arrow and you scroll and scroll. And so your textbook reads like this way. And that's why I like that format, because it feels the same as your textbook when you get long sways. Now this sway is not very long. It only has one section, then we're going to call it. That's all we're going to do. But when we do the mini essay, it's going to have 5 or 6 sections in it, so you're going to have to figure out that this is the style that has to be followed, and that's the vertical style. Next thing you can choose is different options that you see on these rows here. Every one of these rows is identical in how it looks and how it presents. All you're changing is the font and the colors, but the placement of everything is the same on each one of these style rows. So here, if you click on this row here where I've got it, notice 2 things happen. Number 1, the caption box is really tiny. And it cuts it off, it truncates it. So it chops it off, and which is not very good. So we can't use that format, that style, with long captions. If you're going to put a 3 or 4 word caption in there and that's all you want, this is my grandma, it might work for a family photo album, but it's not going to work for what we want to do. It's not going to be a good journalistic format because we're going to have longer captions than that. So we can't use this format. So try another style. This row here is one of my favorites, almost always works for me. It makes the picture smaller, it makes your text card contents a little smaller, but it does keep the full caption underneath. If you've got a 2-sentence, 3-sentence long caption, that's okay, that's protected there. So this row here will work if you like that style. You can go, see there's a right arrow here, you can go off to the right, there's probably 12 different styles, 10 or 12 different styles for each one of these over here. But the one that I do like and one I decided on is this row here. And all I'm going to do is just change the font. Do I want it with serifs or do I want it without serifs? Do I want Times New Roman or do I want Calibri or some other font? And that's all it changes. The format is good. It has the biggest picture, which is why I like it. It puts the caption over here and it keeps your nut graph and your writing in the text card down underneath here. And the header and the title are intact up there. So that's the one I'm going to go on. And so it's time to now actually trigger the grade. So Thursday, you finished your title selection. On Friday, you did all of this. It took you probably 20 minutes, which is why I'm not moving the deadline, because Friday's a holiday this week. This is a super short assignment. You should be able to get it done Thursday during school and just be done with the whole thing. As soon as you pick your topic, go ahead and do the sway and hit them both together. So hit your topic choice, trigger it so that I can say, yes, that's been done, and then finish your sway on Thursday, and it's totally out of the way. Now, what happens for my deadbeat students is Thursday at midnight, Anybody who has not picked their topic, I know to harass them on a normal Friday. This Friday, I'm not going to harass you because it's a holiday. But on a normal Friday, when I get up at 4:30 in the morning, I'm going to send an email out to all of the deadbeats who did not send me their topic choice Thursday by midnight. That way I can harass you, and I can stay on top of you, and I can continue to bother you, and then I can bother your parents because you're not getting your work done. I cannot afford to let any of you slack off. So that's not going to happen. So that's why these triggers are so important. Triggering the topic on Thursday allows me to harass you all day Friday so that you get it all done. There is a penalty, but on 25 points, the penalty is 0.25 points. But on Pinnacle, I will know that you're one of my deadbeats that needs to be monitored closely, because instead of a 25 out of 25 for triggering your topic choice, if you are 1 day late consistently, you will only ever be getting 24.75%. So I will know you're my deadbeat by virtue of the fact that you did not get 25 out of 25 consistently every week by submitting this on Thursday. So I'm going to know in advance, you're late, you've been late every week, you're going to be late again. Thursday, I'm going to start harassing you, get it done, what's your topic? Okay, so that's why this is important, because the penalties tell me that as I look down the track here and you're not getting full marks for anything, I know that you're one of the deadbeats that needs to be harassed. And I say deadbeats with infinite amount of love, because I love every one of my students. I just don't want to see you fail. I don't want to lose you in a virtual classroom. And it's so easy to be unnoticed, and I'm building mechanisms in so that you are always noticed. So I say deadbeats with deep affection. All right, just understand that. All right, so now that you're done this video, every video has a video quiz so that I know who's watched it and I know when you watched it. So if you're watching them late, once again, 25 points. Watching the video a day late, taking the quiz a day late, I will know that you're not doing the videos on the day that they're assigned. You're not watching your calendar. That to-do list needs to be followed. And the coming up list needs to be warning you of what's coming up, so that if you want to work ahead, knock yourself out, Brianna, and a few others, a lot of others. But those who are just barely beating the deadlines, that to-do list is the drop dead date. That's when the penalties are there, and that's when I'm going to be monitoring you. So this one here has a quiz. Remember the Popsicle Stick number? I hope you wrote it down, otherwise you're going to have to go back and find it. And now what you're going to need from this video is the access code. The access code is style. All right? Remember the top right corner of the sway, that's where you choose your different styles. So this is a style. The access code is style. Make sure you confirm you're on the right quiz. Remember, this is your breadcrumb trail across here, blah, 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 blah. That's a trail of breadcrumbs that says you are on Sway Quiz 2, newsletter and journalistic styling. All right? So if you are not on that quiz, this access code ain't going to work. So always look at your breadcrumb trail. If it fails, just say, am I on the right quiz? And if you're not on the right quiz, then two things you need to do. Go back to whatever quiz you're on that you want to do, and to make sure you watch the correct video and get the correct access code, click previous in the bottom left corner and go backwards to find the video that is absolutely guaranteed going to be associated with this quiz, because the video will always immediately precede the quiz, and the access code in that video, when you hit next, is going to be the access code you need for that quiz. And everything is going to have a different access code. That's my way of making sure that you all watch the video. And every video is going to have a popsicle number. All right, those are the standards. All right, thanks so much and good luck with this.